Come behind the curtain and follow private investigator Sheila Wysocki for Season 6, Defamation or Truth in the Matter of Christian Andriacchio.
In the first episode, you heard from Mike Simmons, my Mississippi attorney, who explained defamation and the laws of Mississippi. In this episode, you will hear from Jett Miller himself. Jett Miller and Whitley Goodman brought the lawsuit stating that their character and reputation were damaged. Here are Jett Miller's own words under oath regarding the lawsuit and how it came about.
We are now on the record, and this begins the videotape deposition of Jett Miller. Today is Tuesday, May 25th, 2021, and the time is approximately 9:02. Will all counsel present please state their appearance and whom they represent?
Seth Hunter on behalf of Jett Miller.
Jay Atkins on behalf of the Andriacchios.
Mark Figman on behalf of Tenderfoot TV, Donald Albright, and Payne Lindsay.
Rick Berry on behalf of Ray and Todd Andriacchio.
Donna Meehan on behalf of Without Warning.
Henry Laird on behalf of the Black Mountain Media defendants.
Bill May on behalf of the Andriacchios.
Mr. Miller, if I could get you to raise your right hand, please, so I can swear you in. Do you swear and or affirm that the testimony and statements you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Hey, Bill, before we get started, can we identify everybody in the room with us today?
Yes, we can. In addition to counsel, Sheila Wysocki is present, along with Ray Andriacchio. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Has Matt Wilson said if he is coming or not?
He's coming.
I just don't know. We're missing a lawyer.
We're missing somebody. Somebody have his contact number to reach out to him? Yeah, let's go off the record.
Did Matt say he was in court?
At 9:03. We are back on the record at approximately 9:04.
Bill, if you don't mind, before we start, I'd like
Sure,
to make a statement.
you asked me that previously.
Sure. As I stated, I represent Jett Miller. My name is Seth Hunter. Mr. Miller is going to assert his rights and privileges pursuant to the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, Article 3, Section 26 of the Mississippi Constitution, and he's going to object to responding to the discovery in this case, including giving a deposition due to the criminal process that's been wrongfully driven by the Andriacchio defendants, and that's set forth more fully in the pending motion to stay case pending conclusion of criminal proceedings or alternatively for protective order. However, we are here today, and without waiving the objection I just made, Mr. Miller is prepared to give testimony today. I would ask that we stipulate as to the objections in the deposition that they be given or allowed as to form only, unless there's an objection that may call for additional, I guess, speaking, and that we don't waive any objections in this case, in this deposition.
All right, the lawsuit that you filed here in this case, tell me, when did you hire a lawyer to represent you against these defendants that you sued?
About 5 or 6 months ago.
So let me back up and ask it again, or a different way. You filed this, do you remember when this lawsuit was filed?
I'm not sure the exact date. No.
How did it come about that you and Whitley decided to jointly file a lawsuit together?
It just came about. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, somebody had to talk to somebody between the two of you, I would assume. So how did that happen?
Yeah. I'm really not sure. I guess somehow we started talking, and she didn't have the funds, and maybe my.
I'll object. Yeah. I'm gonna object to the relevancy and to the discoverability of this. But Well, I'm going to object to the relevancy and discoverability, but you can answer if you can. So.
Go ahead.
She just needed some help getting to this point, and now she's on. So, and we're good.
Whose idea was it to sue?
I'm sure hers all along, but whenever I got brought into it, mine too.
Well, how did you get brought into it?
I mean, I guess you could say that if you ask anybody else, I've pretty much been involved, but my name, but not until the podcast started coming up, which made it big.
All right. Jett, all I'm trying to get an understanding about is, at what point in your life did you decide you wanted to file a lawsuit?
When I answered it.
And how did that come about? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Like I said, the podcast come out, and that's whenever, I decided.
Okay. So once you decided you didn't like something about the podcast, did you call Whitley? Did she call you? How did y'all team up?
I didn't work like that. I don't know. I'm sure.
That's why I'm trying to ask you, how did it work?
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how it worked. And we decided we want to file a lawsuit, but if you get the whole town and a couple of people talking about, or everybody talking about it's a couple people, and them couple people going to get together and figure out something to stop it.
Well, and is that what y'all did?
Sure.
So how did you get together to figure out to do something to stop it?
I guess a telephone and dial your numbers.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. I don't want you to guess.
Well, I mean,
tell me what you remember.
Well, if I had to guess, because I don't remember us. Well, what happened? I mean, I don't remember how it went down. If we got together or what.
Well, I think I asked you whose idea was it to file a lawsuit. You said
I'm sure.
Whitley's.
I didn't say Whitley. I said Olive Bars.
Were your parents involved in deciding to file a lawsuit?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Because I'm their son, so they don't want stuff being said about me, so and they're the ones helping with the cost, so, yeah.
Was it your parents' idea that a lawsuit needed to be filed?
I'm sure.
Is that how it got started?
Yeah, for sure, because if it was my idea, it probably wouldn't never get done.
Because?
The money.
Okay. So, when was it that your parents had the idea to file a lawsuit and y'all ended up filing this case? When was it that you and your parents made that decision?
Again, I don't remember when it was, right after the podcast come out. So, you gotta look at the date on that and it would be right there.
All right. Do you remember sitting down with Whitley at any point and saying, here's what we need to do, or here's how we're going to do this lawsuit business?
No, sir.
Did you and Whitley ever meet together at any place to discuss or talk about filing this lawsuit?
I'm going to object if you're asking about when they met with lawyers.
Yeah, I don't want to know what you said to your lawyers, but I want to know if y'all ever met together, the two of you, Whitley and you, to address filing a lawsuit.
Sure, I would say yeah.
All right. When and where did y'all meet?
Prior to filing a lawsuit in my house.
Was there anybody else present?
I'm sure my parents were at some point, but maybe just me and her.
Okay. And I don't want to know what was said, but did you and Whitley ever go together to meet with a lawyer about filing a lawsuit?
Sure.
You did?
Yeah.
Who'd you meet with?
A person out of Jackson.
Mr. Clanton?
Sure.
So y'all went together?
Yes, sir.
Who else?
And one I'm with now.
Sir?
And the one I'm with now?
No, sir. I'm talking about who else went with you and Whitley to meet with Mr. Clanton?
Her uncle or something, and my mom.
Her uncle?
Yes.
Who's her uncle?
His name's Frankie.
Last name?
Wagner, I believe.
All right. So Frankie Wagner, your mom, you and Whitley went and met with a lawyer about the filing of this lawsuit?
Yes.
Okay.
Teddy Roosevelt was renowned for his love of the outdoors, but few people know that one risky excursion almost cost him his life. Against the Odds is a podcast from Wondery about the unsinkable human spirit and our ability to fight back and triumph against all odds. Each season shares thrilling true stories of survival, putting you in the shoes of the heroes who lived to tell the tale. The newest season, Uncharted, Teddy Roosevelt's Amazon Expedition, tells the tale of Teddy Roosevelt's expedition to map an unexplored river in one of the most dangerous parts of the Amazon basin. After leaving the Oval Office in his 50s, the restless president was ready for new adventures. From the Spanish-American War Service to big game hunts, Roosevelt was no stranger to death-defying endeavors, but he was woefully unprepared for the unique dangers and brutality of the jungle. His fateful journey was met with starvation, crippling disease, even murder, and you'll never believe how he got out alive. Follow Against the Odds wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen ad-free on the Amazon Music or Wondery app.
Was there a point in time where you thought Whitley had killed Christian 𝐲𝐷𝐿?
Object to form.
I say, sure. When it first happened, I guess. When everybody found out about it. That's what everybody thought, really.
Including you?
Sure, because I was going off of what everybody said.
Have you ever told anybody that you killed Christian 𝐲𝐷𝐿?
No, sir.
Have you ever told anybody something along the lines that things went wrong at the apartment prior to Christian's death?
No, sir.
Were you in Christian 𝐲𝐷𝐿's apartment on the day that he died?
No, sir.
Did you have anything to do with anything before or after Christian's death about his body, cleaning up blood, or anything else like that?
No, sir.
Had you ever been in Christian 𝐲𝐷𝐿's apartment?
No, sir.
Before or after his death?
Never.
Did Whitley Goodman ever tell you that something went wrong prior to Christian's death that led to his death?
No, sir.
Did you ever talk to her about what happened to Christian?
Sure, yeah, but, yeah.
How many times would you say that you and Whitley Goodman have talked about what happened on the day of Christian 𝐲𝐷𝐿's death?
I'm not sure.
Several?
Yeah, just like a lot of people have.
Talk to Whitley?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't care about other people right now. I'm just talking about you.
And I answered it.
Right. You said several.
Yeah.
Trying to get an idea of how many you mean by several.
10.
How many times would you tell me today that Whitley changed her story about what happened to Christian?
No.
She never changed her story to you?
No, she never. Just been the same story.
So your testimony is that at no time in the 10 conversations you had with Whitley did she change any of her story about what happened to Christian?
It's been the same.
So what's the story been?
She was asleep. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What caused you to believe that she did have something to do with Christian's death?
Objective one.
I don't believe that she had anything to do with it.
Well, you told me earlier that there was a point that you and everybody else thought she did.
Yeah,
So
okay.
What led you to believe?
Because I was going off of what other people were saying.
Such as?
Such as Christian's grandfather saying where he got shot at and who did it. So, yeah.
What else?
It's pretty much who I got all the information from about when it happened and what went down, so that's who I only listened to.
Christian's grandfather.
Yes.
Is the only person you got information from about what happened to him.
Correct.
And it was based on what you heard from him. You're saying you concluded Whitley Goodman had something to do with his death.
No.
What are you telling me?
I didn't say she had anything to do with it. That's just, you asked me who did I get the information from, and that's who I got the false information from.
Right. So is it your testimony here today that you thought Whitley had something to do with Christian's death based only upon what you learned from Christian's grandfather?
I mean, me not knowing anything about what happened or what went down, I listened to him because I was his grandfather. So, at the time, yeah. But, I guess down the road and after everything played out, yeah, it is what it is. It's a suicide.
When did you change from your belief that Whitley killed or had something to do with Christian 𝐓𝐷𝐒's death to believing that it was suicide?
Objective.
I guess not long after that it happened, because he figured out that it was not a murder.
Who is he?
Gerald Wayne Thompson.
Who is Gerald Wayne Thompson?
Christian's grandfather.
So you're saying that Gerald Wayne Thompson figured out that it was a suicide? What do you tell me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And that's when you say you changed from believing that Whitley killed him to he committed suicide. Is that correct?
Correct.
When was the conversation you say you had with Gerald Wayne Thompson that changed your mind?
I didn't physically have the conversation, but it was months, I guess, weeks or months after he died, I guess. I don't remember the actual date.
Well, if you didn't talk to Mr. Thompson, how are you saying that you heard from him?
Because it came directly to him from my grandmother.
Who's your grandmother?
Judy Wing.
So Judy Wing told you something that you attributed to Gerald Wayne Thompson that changed your mind about Christian's death?
Yes.
What did Judy Wing, your grandmother, tell you?
I guess whatever he said.
Well, what did she say he said?
I'm not sure exactly what she said, but just looking back, that's what I remember.
So you remember your grandmother telling you that Gerald Wayne Thompson said something that she shared with you that changed your mind about Christian's death?
Yes.
That's a pretty big swing. So what did you hear from your grandmother that caused you to change your opinion?
I'd say the phone, the messages in his phone that Chris deleted and he deleted, so Ray would not see the messages.
Messages in whose phone?
Christian's phone.
And there are messages you say that Chris who?
Thompson.
And that Chris and Gerald Wayne deleted from Christian's phone?
Correct.
And that his mother Ray did not see those messages?
Correct.
What did the messages say?
They're suicidal thought messages of him texting back and forth to, I guess, Josh and Whitley, and just talking about killing himself nonstop.
This is the information your grandmother gave you, correct?
Correct.
All right. You didn't see the messages. You can't verify one way or the other.
At the time, no.
Have you seen them since?
Attorney General's report, yes.
Okay. When did you read the Attorney General's report? You told me about that earlier.
Whenever it first come out. I mean, I didn't read word for word all of it, but yep. But pretty much read everything that needs to be read, yeah.
Okay. Have you read anything else from law enforcement in this case?
I mean, I think the Attorney General report is the only thing that I've read from law enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You told me that you think there's been 10 conversations that you've had with Whitley about what happened to Christian. When's the first time you had any conversation with her after Christian's death?
It wasn't probably till 2018. Because I didn't talk to her when this happened.
So 2018 was when you had the first conversation with Whitley about what happened?
Yeah, I'd say so, because I didn't talk to her. I didn't know her until 2018.
Okay. Now, he died in 2014, so
That's
you're
correct.
saying there was about a 4-year time span before you and she actually talked about what happened.
That's correct.
Okay. Where were you when you had that first conversation?
I'm not sure.
Was it in person or was it over the phone?
I mean, the conversation about...
The first time that you and Whitley talked about what happened to Christian.
I'm sure it was in person.
And so you don't remember where y'all met?
That's what I said.
How many person-to-person conversations have you and Whitley had about Christian's death?
I don't remember a count, but like I said, maybe around 10.
So all 10 or most of the 10 have been person-to-person conversations?
Correct.
Well, give me one place y'all have met to have a person-to-person conversation, if you can't remember the first one.
Outside.
Where?
Of my house.
Where else?
I guess maybe I was living in time, Birmingham, Alabama, 2018.
She came to Birmingham?
Sure.
Where in Birmingham?
Homewood.
No, but where were you?
At the apartments.
Okay. Where else have y'all met to talk about Christian's death?
Objection insofar as you're asking about meeting at the attorney's offices. Any meetings that have occurred there.
Well, have you met at lawyers' offices? And you and Whitley talked at the lawyer's office between the two of you?
About everything that's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have y'all talked to each other about what happened to Christian at a lawyer's office?
There's really not much to say of what happened because she was asleep. So how do
That's not my. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's not my question. How many times have y'all talked, the two of you,
I don't know.
at a lawyer's office?
I don't know an exact time. I done said that and said it. I don't remember.
Well, you've told me about a place in Birmingham, your apartment, and
Yeah.
your house outside. That's 2.
Correct.
So there's 8 more, and I'm just trying to understand where else y'all
Well,
talk to each other.
If you want me to just make some places up, I can. But I don't remember.
Right, and that's all you need to say, Jett.
That's what I said.
Okay. So of the 2 places y'all have met, Birmingham and Meridian, those are the only 2 places you can recall that you and Whitley have met and talked person to person about.
Meridian's going to be all the other 8.
Where in Meridian?
My house.
Okay. So then other than Birmingham, the one time in Birmingham, are you saying the other 9 times that you and Whitley met face to face to talk about Christian's death was at your house?
Yes.
All right. You sure about that?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure. I don't know where else we'd meet.
Well, and listen to me. I told you earlier, I'm not trying to trick you.
I know.
I just want you to tell me what you know and remember.
That's what I'm doing.
Are you guessing that that's where you met because you think that's
I'm
where you
guessing.
Well, I don't want you to guess. I want you to tell me what you know.
I said I do not remember.
All right. So then you really don't know where all y'all met?
No, obviously.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Did you ever talk to Hayes Mitchell and tell him that you had something to do with Christian's death?
No, sir.
You deny that?
I said no, sir.
You deny that?
No, sir.
Okay. You ever talk to your cousin Matt Miller about Christian's death?
I guess I asked him. Did he know what happened?
What did he tell you?
Really not sure what he said, but he didn't know what happened.
When did you talk to Matt about Christian's death?
I'm sure right after it happened.
Where?
On the phone.
Tell me about that conversation.
Really not sure. It was probably me telling him what happened, or what I thought happened, that he died.
Tell me what Matt said after you told him that Christian had died. Was he already aware of it?
No, sir.
Are you the person that told Matt Miller that Christian had died?
I want to say so.
Okay. Can you tell me when? Was that on the day of Christian's death?
Yes, sir.
About what time of the day?
Later that night, I'm guessing.
I want you to guess.
From the best of my knowledge, later that night.
Okay. Did you call him or he called you?
I probably called him.
To do what? Were you calling to tell him about Christian?
Yes.
How did you find out about Christian's death?
Because his grandfather, Gerald Wayne's the one that told my grandmother, which then told my mother, which called me.
So your mother is who you learned about Christian's death from?
Yes.
Okay. And how long after you learned about Christian's death did you call Matt?
Not sure, but shortly after.
And where was Matt, if you know, when you talked to him?
Maybe getting home from work or at work.
And how did he respond to what you told him?
I'm sure he thought he was crazy, I guess.
What did you tell him when you first talked to him?
He was dead.
And what was his response?
I'm really not sure. Like I said, I'm sure he thought it was crazy that it happened, because he was just with the girl.
Just with Whitley?
Yes.
What did he tell you about that?
There's nothing to tell me about. Just a regular time when they were together.
So he said it's crazy because I was just with Whitley. What did he say about being with Whitley?
I mean, nothing.
When did you ask him what he meant?
No, I'm just summing up of what he said.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm just summing up kind of what I thought he said, because I don't remember exactly what he said.
Well,
so long, years and years ago on the phone. I mean,
this is a conversation you had with a guy who'd been with Whitley. And I want you to tell me as best you remember.
That's what I'm doing.
What he said.
And that's what I'm doing.
Did he give you any details when you asked him about, or did you ask him about what he meant about being with Whitley?
No, sir.
Did he tell you that he had been over to Christian's apartment that day?
No, sir.
Did you ask him?
Probably not.
So this is the day of Christian's death that you have this conversation with Matt. How long did y'all talk about it? How long was that conversation?
2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Okay. When's the next time you talked to Matt Miller about Christian's death?
From what I remember, I just remember the first time I told him, and that's it. I'm sure there was other times, but I do not remember.
Did Matt ever tell you he thought Whitley killed Christian 𝐲𝐿?
Not that I know of.
Did he ever talk to you about what occurred with regard to Whitley being with him and whether they shot guns on the night before Christian's death?
What are you asking again?
Did Matt tell you at any time anything about them shooting guns the night before Christian's death?
I mean, why would he when we were together?
Sir?
Why would he when we were all together?
Tell me what you mean by that.
Why
You were
would
there.
Yeah.
Did y'all talk about that night?
I mean, everybody has, yeah. That's why it's that night, what you're saying, because people made it up.
Right. So when you say that he had told you that he was with Whitley, was he referring to the night before Christian's death?
Of course, it was just whenever he was with her. That's whenever it was.
Well, you knew that they'd been together the night before, right?
Well, yeah, they were at my house.
Yeah, you were with them, right?
That's what I said.
So when you told me that when you talked to him and told him about Christian's death, his response or reaction was, I was with her. Was he referring to the night before, or was he referring to the day of Christian's death, or do you know?
Objective.
I don't know. I do not know.
Okay. Well, as we sit here today, have you had any conversation with Matt Miller in which y'all talked about what he thought happened to Christian?
Not that I know of, no, sir.
You're telling me today that you've never heard Matt make any comment that he thought Whitley Goodman killed Christian 𝐲𝐿?
Maybe on the TV show I heard him, I think, say something, but other than that, not face to face, no.
Okay. Well, if you heard it he did say it on the show. Did you ever follow up with him and ask him what he meant by that, or what made him say that?
No, sir.
How many times have you been in the company of Matt Miller since Christian 𝐲𝐿's death?
Hundreds.
And your testimony is not once have you said, hey, dude, I heard that you thought Christian was killed by Whitley. What do you mean by that?
I said I do not remember.
You don't remember what?
What your question is, of him saying what he thought happened to her, or that Whitley did it, because he didn't tell me that.
Well, but you heard it.
Exactly, on the TV show, but he didn't personally tell me that.
I understand that. You didn't ask him, I heard what you said. What do you think happened? You have never once asked Matt Miller what he meant by that?
How would he know that happened when he wasn't there?
That's not my question, Jett.
You asked him what.
I'm asking you if you've ever asked him what he meant by that statement.
I mean, I may have, sure, but I don't remember. I don't remember, no.
You don't ever remember having a conversation with him that dealt with his allegation that he thought Whitley killed Christian?
Objection asked and answered.
That's fair.
I mean, again, Because we pretty much knew that that Whitley didn't do it. So, I mean,
Well, wouldn't that be a reason why you'd want to ask him? Well, what do you mean if you didn't think she did it?
again, I might have asked him, but I do not remember.
All right. So you have no testimony to offer about anything Matt has told you about his comment that he thought Whitley killed Christian?
No, sir.
Okay.
If you know anything at all, call 1-888-599-0008 or email tips@SheilaWysocki.com.